Hey, it's me, Egbert. Egggburt. Check out my website at egbert.com. Now it's back to those two dudes who told me they would bring in big ratings. They better are their history. Here are Brad and John.
John, did you get the link I sent you yesterday about the restaurant debacle in Pittsburgh?
I did.
Harris?
Yeah, thank you for sending that. Sorry, I didn't respond to that. That was immediately before I was behind the Real Talk guy, and I didn't reply to you.
Okay, did you read it by any chance?
Yeah. They were talking about how the guys there just wanted to watch the Pirates game.
Right. Did you watch the video by any chance?
No, I didn't watch the video.
Okay, what we're talking about is there's a story that surfaced out of Pittsburgh that a guy was sitting in a very, very popular restaurant in Pittsburgh, I believe on a Saturday afternoon. And it was like 3:30 in the afternoon. He's sitting there drinking his beer, and the bartender yells, "Last call," at 3:30 in the afternoon. And he's going, "Last call?" And they were informed that the restaurant was going to be cleared out at 4 o'clock because they had a private party. And it turned out the private party was an event that was being put on by the Harris campaign, where they cleared out the restaurant and they brought in actors as well as, very important people to essentially sit at all the tables and pretend they're eating and drinking and stuff like that. And then, just by coincidence, Vice President Harris shows up and walks through the restaurant and is greeting people. Okay, so in other words, it was a totally staged event. But the interesting thing for me was, if you watch the video, and what's interesting about the video is, this will give you an example of how the press is treated. The video is unedited, and essentially what the video is, it's like an 8-minute clip of the cameraman essentially being herded around by the press people, and you can hear the press people yelling at, are not the press people. The press people were being herded around by the campaign staffers, and essentially you can hear the campaign staffers saying, "No, press over here. Press, no, move here. You're here. Press here. Press here. Press to the left." And I'm going like, God, this is like talking about micromanaging the press, because they did not want the press to get close to any of the diners because they didn't want to find out that the diners were all fake diners.
For sure. I could believe that.
Okay. It just drives me nuts. Okay. Next story. Okay. Katie Ratcliffe. You sent me this yesterday.
Oh, yeah. This is Now, is this a feel-good story or what?
This made my blood pressure go up 30 points, okay?
That's why I sent it to you, Brad. You know my whole end game is for you to have your final heart attack, and I finally can buy these stations from your kids.
Tell everybody who Katie Ratcliffe is.
She is the the immediate past head of... Was it RCGA, Brad? Was it technically RCGA, or did they change their name?
I don't know. It's a quasi...
The Convention and Visitors Bureau. That's the name. Convention and Visitors Bureau. Not RCGA.
Would it be proper to call it a quasi-governmental agency? Would that be
for sure. Yeah, it absolutely is.
It's not officially a part of the government, but it is sort of part of the government in that they're the ones that take the money from the city and, importantly, from the county as well, too, because, believe it or not, the convention center is one of the very few things in the St. Louis area where there's cooperation back and forth between the city and the county, included the TWA Dome, whatever you want to call it, the old Edward Jones Dome, the whole bit. And Katie Ratcliffe is the lady, she's the head cheese, whatever you want to call her, okay? And she's been there quite some time. And as of late has come under a lot of criticism for a couple of different things. One is they're doing this addition to the convention center, and they are way over budget. And the other...
Who could have possibly anticipated that?
Right. And the other thing is, as far as projections for the number of conventions and people are coming into town for meetings and things like that, they're way under budget. So in other words, you've got the classic business scenario of revenues way down and expenses are way up. So the gap of, essentially, if it were a profit-making corporation, the loss keeps widening. Would that be a fair way to put it?
It is. She would make a great radio station owner.
Right. Okay. So apparently they've had enough, and her contract expires, June 30th of next year, I believe it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
June 30th of 2025. So they've essentially said to her, Katie, you know what? It's not working out real well. We're going to just give you the golden handshake right now. So essentially, I believe as of today, she's gone, right? I mean, it wasn't like somewhat immediate.
Yeah, and she gets her base pay is $408,000, but she got a bonus because the city's doing so well this year, Brad. She got a bonus of a meager $54,280.
So, long story made short, she walks away with over a $500,000 for her to just go away and say bye-bye, and she gets to keep her car. She had a company
and
car.
Cobra, most importantly, because of Cobra, she gets her health care.
Right, she gets her health care and stuff like that. I'm thinking to myself, what in the world is this? If she's not doing well, and she gets and they've awarded her these incentive bonuses, which apparently she was not qualified for because she had some incentive clauses into her contract where she got X amount of conventions or whatever it was, and they're just going to give her all the bonuses. And I'm going like, it's just like it ticked me off when I read the story about the Metropolitan Sewer District guy retiring, and he got like a couple $100,000 in unused vacation and sick leave. Okay, once again, corporate America. I mean, there are lots of companies like this. You have X amount of vacation days in a year. You use them or you lose them. If you have,
use them or lose them, Brad.
If you have 2 weeks of vacation and you're Mr. Worker B or Mr. Worker B, or Miss Worker B or Ms. Worker B, whatever you want to call yourself, Mrs. Worker B, if you show up for work every day for 52 weeks and you don't use your vacation, when that year rolls over, you don't have any more vacation anymore. But not in the public sector. We're just going to give all this government money, and in case of the situation with this Katie Ratcliffe, this is essentially government money. This is money that the city gives to the authority, that the county gives to it. I find it absolutely, positively abhorrent. Okay, why in the world? I mean, let me give you an analogy to the radio business, okay? If this were the radio business, and if she were like someone on the air, and she was hitting her numbers, the boss would walk in and say, "Hey, your last show? Yeah, that was your last show. Don't let the door hit you in the butt on the way out. And you know what? We'll maybe thinking about giving you your last paycheck. But you know what? Maybe we won't give you your last paycheck. We'll just say, sue us.
Yeah,
there's the door.
Yeah, come and get it.
Get the hell out, okay? Why is it that we treat failed government people like this? I don't get it.
Well, here's why. So first of all, what I love is, let's give a shout out to somebody very important to you, which is that when you say use it or lose it, that's the first time on the air you've quoted your urologist, Brad. Secondly, I think as it relates to the MSD guy, or as it relates to Kitty Ratcliffe, you and I went back and forth on this with the MSD guy. The rules as written may be ridiculous, but they're the rules, and you can't blame this guy for taking advantage of it, just like you can't blame Kitty Ratcliffe. But to your point, Brad, so what you have to do is you have to change the policy. You can't blame the person that's cashing out. You got to change the policy. And if you think it's ridiculous, then you got to change the policy. If I was Kitty Ratcliffe, I would say, look, I've spent 18 years banging my head against the wall, and I deserve a $500,000 kiss goodbye.
John, when you run a business, and I've run businesses, I've been in business for myself for full time since 1984. Okay, I look at things and I look to myself. Sometimes I think to myself, that cost me $3,000, and now that piece of equipment is worthless. Okay, that vehicle out there in the parking lot cost $32,000 new. It's now got 398,000 miles. It's basically scrap value. Okay. Every penny is precious. Every dollar is precious. When you get into government, it's to the point where it's not your money. You don't care anymore.
Absolutely, Brad.
It's like, oh, who cares? And so many crazy things I see in government. Like, for example, I posted Unfortunately, I had to go, I guess it was last week, I had to go to the St. Louis County government building in Clayton, which they want to tear down and build a new one. It's like, okay, whatever. You got these buildings in Jefferson City. How old's the Capitol building? The Capitol building?
Very old. Very old.
So nobody's going to say, we need to tear down the Capitol building and build a new one. But yet the county government building, which is 50, 60 years old, we will need to tear it down and build a new one. Okay. You walk in the door from the county building, and it used to be you walk in the door, and it was interesting because they've completely redone the entrance on Central Avenue. You used to walk in the door, and there would be an escalator right there. Do you remember this?
Yeah, I do. I remember it well, yeah.
Okay, and you could get on that escalator, and you could go up to the next floor, or to your left, you could go over to the elevators.
Not anymore. Tell them what happened, Brad.
You could go over to the elevators and get on the elevators, and if you need to go talk to the people at assessor's office, I think it was on the third floor, you pushed the button for the elevator for the third floor, and you went up to the third floor. Okay, now you walk through, and this all started with Stanger. They put Checkpoint Charlie there. They have a metal detector. The escalator's gone. They literally tore out the escalator, and you can't get on the elevator anymore. And if you want to do anything in the county, you have to go over to a little stupid iPad kiosk, and you have to key in your telephone number and your name, and then you have to pick a bunch of choices. Do I want to talk to somebody at planning and zoning? Yes, I do. You have to hit that. And then you get a text on your phone saying, you're number 3 in line. Your wait is 22 minutes. Please go sit down in the chair and wait for window number 18. Okay? Why do I know this real well? Been there, done that. But when you walk in the door now, there's a video wall, not a video screen. Excuse me, it's not a wall. We're not in a church. We're not in one of the new...
You're not in a Nickelback concert.
Yeah, we're not in one of the hipster churches. Okay, there's a big video wall, or big video display, and it's running little things. And one of the clips is got Sam Page, who's thanking you for showing up at the St. Louis County thing. So I took a picture of it, and I put it up on my X account, and I essentially tagged Jane Duker in it. Okay, and what does she do? She responds exactly the way I feel about this crazy donkey thing, where what have they done? They've made it so incredibly hard to do business with St. Louis County. Now, I will say, not to, push, not to, just diss on St. Louis County. St. Charles County has done the same the same Hoover damn thing, where you used to be able to walk into the county building there, push the elevator to go up to Recorder of Deeds, whatever floor you wanted. Now you got to go through the same stupid thing with the stupid little iPads that are on a kiosk thing and plug in your number. And, once again, they make it so hard. Now, once again, why is it that government makes things harder when business is always trying to make things easier for their customer, right? Think about that.
I think they're both embracing automation, and I have it on good authority that the St. Charles County election office is doing a thing where if grumpy old men come in looking for lists, they automatically lock the doors. You have a big siren that goes off, and it's called the Katie Bar the Door, but it's BAHR, Brad. Did you know that? It's Katie Kurt Bar the Door, so that Brad Hildebrand can't come in.
John, you had your Wheaties this morning, didn't you, man? You were just knocking them down left and right this morning.
Well, I got a little upset because I heard somebody was complaining about Sam Page's picture, and I like it because if you go, they actually have a mosque there where you can go and you can genuflect, you kneel. You know how Muslims kneel toward Mecca? But during the day, you can either kneel toward Sam Page's office, or most working hours, you kneel toward whatever hospital he's working at during the day, Brad, because he does that during the workday.
I don't think he does anymore. I think they sort of cured him of that, so to speak. So
I don't know. I think you should text your friend Jane Duker about that. She probably has some information.
John, see, here's the problem. The problem is that just like you and I talk about this with politics, okay, what you and I talk about on this show is maybe knowledge that maybe 5-10% of the general public has.
Less than that. Yeah,
less than that. Okay, because nobody cares anymore, because all they care about is their simple life. And I'm not making fun of people. I mean, once again, they want to get their job. They want to go home. On the way home, they want to stop
They
by.
want to watch TikTok.
Right. They want to stop by the bar, tilt back a couple brewskis.
It's called a dispensary, Brad. Get it right.
Well, that's the way. Yeah, in the old day, you went to the liquor store. Now you go to the pot store, and you get a couple ounces, stuff like that. And then you wonder why the Democrats win all the elections, because what are they doing? One minute the Democratic Party is selling you cars because all the guys who work at all the ad agencies are all hipster Democrat kind of dudes. The next minute they're selling you Kamala Harris. And they're not selling you J.D. Vance because of the fact that he's some weirdo who had sex with his couch, according to people that once again, if you know that crazy story, there are people claiming that in his book, He'll Be Elegy, he says he admitted he had sex with his couch, and J.D.'s going like, that's not in my book. I never wrote that. But yet everybody believed, oh, that's the guy that had sex with his couch at home. Once again, I mean, it's like the Judy Woodruff story. You know this crazy story?
I don't. Can you sum it up in a minute?
Yeah, I can. The Judy Woodruff story is that she came on PBS last week and said that Donald Trump has had telephone conversations with Netanyahu telling him not to sign the peace accord because he wants to keep the war going because of the fact that it's going to benefit Donald Trump, because of the fact that Trump's going to be able to say, look at the current administration. They can't fix the war. It's still going on, and Hamas is still after Hamas. And she goes on the air, and both Donald Trump and Netanyahu go like, never said that, BS. She finally comes out and admits it. She was wrong. And why did she say that on the air? Because she read it on a website. Okay, Miss Journalist, reads something on a website and goes on the air, and both Netanyahu and Trump could prove to the fact the last time they talked was sometime back in June. So here we've got this great, journalist who's making up crap. This is what drives me nuts.
I know, and you know what? Someone I know once talked about how there's a station called 93.3 where all it is people yelling and complaining and being angry. I'm glad we don't become that station, Brad.
John?
It's 8 o'clock, and guess what?
It's time for me to leave.
The dispensary's opening. I got to go to the carpool lane. I got to get my vape pen filled up and hit the carpool lane, Brad.
Have a good day, John.
Bye, Brad.
Thanks for checking out the Brad and John Show podcast. This segment of the show is brought to you by John Combest's book, Stalking, Harassment, Internet Trolling, A Guide to Recovering and Rebuilding After Online Attacks. It's a great reference if you've ever been the unfortunate target of a social media attack. It's available on Amazon. Just search John Combest. That's Combest, John Combest, and the book will show up in your search results. Now it's time for another segment of the Brad and John Show. Can you handle it?